Greetings to all. I am Dr. Ankur Nanda and I am an Associate Director of Spine Surgeries at Indian Spinal Injuries Centre. Indian Spinal Injuries Centre is a pioneering center for all types of treatment for all spinal and orthopedic ailments. We are well known not only for our excellent technical expertise, but also for our high ethical standards, and that is what is our core value. Today we have with us respected Chairperson Madam Mrs. Bholi Ahluwalia, accompanied by Mrs. Sugandh Ahluwalia, who is a board member of Indian Spinal Injuries Centre. Welcome, ma'am.
Thanks, sir.
Today we'll try to understand how Indian Spinal Injuries Centre has come so far and what is their vision for the centre way ahead. So I'll start with Bholi ma'am. Ma'am, I'd like to take you down the memory lane and we'll try to understand how this centre was conceptualized and how was this centre formed.
Ankur, this is a very, very long story and a long, arduous journey. It started in 1965. That is what our friends say, that the foundation of this center was laid in 1965 when Major Ahluwalia was injured in the Pakistan-Indo war, and that is the foundation of this center. So after that, he climbed Mount Everest in 65, and barely 4 months after that, he got injured in the war by a sniper's bullet, and he became a quadriplegic rather. One day he was on top of the world. Next day, he couldn't even move any of his forelimbs, lying in a hospital for 2.5 long years. Because at that time, there was no awareness what spinal cord injury is. The doctors were unaware of it. So they were just experimenting with him. But then in 1968, Mrs. Gandhi, she had a great soft corner for mountaineers. And so she sent him to Stoke Mandeville Hospital in UK. This was the first center for spinal cord injury war veterans of World War II, set up by Dr. Gutmann Ludwig. Yeah? And that's where he spent his next 6 months. And when he came back, he was a changed man. And he was what he was before he got injured. Full of energy, strength, wanting to do something. And then he went to England every 2 years for his treatment, for his checkups. And the doctors there, Dr. Walsh was his personal physician, and Sir Ludwig, they encouraged him to do something in India. Because, it was very, very expensive for anybody to afford this treatment. And so the Major Ahluwalia thought, why not, I should have something here in the country for the people who cannot afford. And जैसे बोलते हैं ना, जिसको लागे वही जाने. So he came up with this idea. It started small. Then along the way, we kept meeting like-minded people who were eager to help. And then in 1985, this society was formed in 1986. We registered 1983, sorry. And it was registered. And after that, the first seminar was held in 1985, where people from all over the world came. And then the foundation stone was laid by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. And then it started 1990, we started the OPD in a small room outside. And now we are here. The first patient came in 1997. And then you all joined in.
And the rest is history.
And we all grew together. And that is where we are today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking us down the memory lane. This story is always so inspiring. And now where we are, ma'am, you have taken a lead role in the operations of the center.
Right.
So what challenges do you see that this center is now facing? And how do you intend to take the center forward?
It's been one hell of a crazy ride. There's no denying that. I think the pressure that comes with carrying the legacy forward as someone's daughter was definitely overwhelming. However, the staff was so forthright, so supportive and motivating towards us that it has been nothing but encouraging. And now finally trying to maintain this balance of the old and new, because once you do step into someone's shoes where there's a legacy to take forward, there's a lot of expectations to retain the old. But then on the flip side, they also expect change to come because you're a much younger person. There's this hope that, there'll be brighter new ideas. So that's where I think I'm learning to strike the balance, and it's a work in progress, but I've come a long way, and so has the Institute. Challenging, it has been, but it's also very rewarding. I think from the time we started out to where we are today, 2 years later, finance was a definite challenge in the beginning, which because we don't have any corporate background, we don't have any backing, we're a society, it was a little difficult to overcome that challenge, because from where we are to where we hope to be, there's a big gap, because the healthcare industry is moving so fast. So now we want to escalate and have a growth trajectory that kind of makes us kind of bridge that gap. So I would say that's something that's definitely on our list to do. The other thing is that in terms of taking the center forward, we definitely want to expand on a scope of services. We envision ISIC to be a one-stop shop for spine and ortho. So based on the spine team's feedback, we are thinking about starting an oncology program as well as a pediatric program, because in the past there have been many patients that have been turned away because of this. So that's definitely on the cards. Along with that, refurbishment and expanding the infrastructure. There's something I want to say in this, that usually these days services play such a vital role in patient care and satisfaction. We want to retain looking and feeling like a hospital. Our USP has and is always the greenery and the natural light that comes into our wards. We want to retain that. Also, something that I would like to say is that the gardens and the orchards, the citrus orchards that we have in ISIC, we nurture them just like any other medical equipment. So we want to continue that. So I would say that's where a mix of an old and new is in the process.
It's great to hear that, and let me assure you, all the hospital staff, including the doctors, are firmly behind you, and I'm sure you're going to take us to a newer height, and the center is really going to become even more bigger.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I'll ask you this for the benefit of our listeners as well. Ma'am, what do you think sets us apart from other hospitals? What is so unique about our center?
It is that the atmosphere here is more like a family, and everybody, when you go around, you don't feel that it's a hospital. It is, the atmosphere is very relaxed, even though people are working very hard and they are true to their profession. But, they find joy in doing their work, because our motto is healing through joy and hope. And we want to continue that. And also, which hospital has, I don't think, if I may say so, every room looks outside. The nature comes in, there's greenery, there are flowers, there are fruits, there's everything around. And we encourage our patients to go out in the gardens, and that helps them, recover faster. They get a sense of, belonging, and they're not cooped up in their rooms, four walls, because they are here for a longer stay than a normal patient anywhere. They are here for months. And imagine yourself being in a room cooped up for months, not going out. So that is, I think, Major Ahluwalia thought that they should be outside. So because he loved nature, that's why we have all this greenery around us. And one patient very aptly described that, I look out of this window every time and I see a squirrel and a pigeon here. So I talk to them. This is my National Geographic window. It was so rewarding. I still remember his words, and I think we are blessed to have this, and we blessed we thank God, and I thank my husband for doing all this for the society. And moreover, then, we have this sports day. He was a sportsman, and he encouraged the staff to go out and play. And on a Founders Day, on the 6th of November, we have a sports day, where right from the doctors to the director, everybody plays together, and there's a sense of togetherness, and there's happiness all around. And then these corridors and the hospital is made in such a way, it was made by a patient for the patient, and he took interest in everything which was done here, right from the laying of the first brick till the very end when he went. And you can move anywhere in the hospital without any barrier. So that is very unique, I think. And also, there are so many things which I can say.
I'm sure. Ma'am, I think you're absolutely correct when you say that, there's a family, this is a family, and that is why I think so many of our doctors have been here for years together. Yes. And we are still working with the same energy. Sugandh ma'am, we all know that Indian Spinal Injuries Centre has now a global presence, and we are well known among our peers and even in the global community. What is your vision for this centre going ahead?
I think PA's journey played a vital role in putting ISIC on the world map. So now it's more about still upholding that vision, consolidating and expanding on the same vision. So I'll come to the international part, but I think regionally now we have started regional clinics. We are trying more community outreach programs. So back in the day, I would say that ISIC functioned only on site and very isolated, right? Our vision now is to take our services and go regionally and maybe beyond also. So definitely we would like to maybe look into surgical camps, international OPDs. I know it's already run of the mill and we are arriving late to the party, but we have the USP of having one of the biggest spine teams in ISIC, young doctors, very driven. So it's going to be great working together and taking that forward. Also on the rehabilitation front, because that is definitely a feather in ISIC's cap, we had the Joint Secretary from the Ministry of Social Justice and Social Welfare and Empowerment yesterday. We were having a dialogue on how ISIC can think about starting a CSR initiative and working with the government in helping set rehabilitation centers across India. So we take our expertise out of these four walls, extend it to the government, and help them build these rehab centers so that even patients, because we have a lot of patients from out of Delhi, right? So these patients can also, instead of spending a lot of time in Delhi, it's expensive, they can probably go back home and avail rehab services in those regional clinics, which we help set up. And obviously we will make sure that we develop SOPs in such a way that quality in terms of patient care is never compromised. So that is something that is on the cards regionally. And internationally, like I said, the usual, we want to be a part of, and I do hope with our new chief of spine that we will be putting ISIC and continuing to be a part of major global forums that take part in SCI movement. Also pushing research and academics. So the usual activities, I would say. I think there's still so much scope to do within that we don't need to innovate at this point in time.
Sure, ma'am. I think regional clinics are a great idea because the world-class treatment which is offered at ISIC needs to spread into other parts of country, and we need to, take care of our countrymen as well. Bholi ma'am, if I may ask, what are our core values and principles of the center? What do you think?
We would like to continue with what he taught us, and that was total transparency and having a vision in life, and to have certain ethics and follow that. And I would request all my staff, everybody, to please follow that so that we can, if there's a change, it is most welcome, but we can change and move further with the same philosophy and the same ethics, which is very important, and that is what will give us a name which we already have, and that we want to continue having. And also, what else? What I want to say? There were so many things that, and also that. Can you repeat your question, please?
Our principles of the hospital, ma'am.
Yeah, and that the patient comes first, and give everything to the patient the moment he enters our doors till he leaves, fully rehabilitated, and do the best what we can do for him and look after him and his family, because the family is also, when a patient is spinal cord injured, his family also needs full support from the doctors and everybody else. So we have to look at the problem as a family problem. So yeah.
So ma'am, what are the steps the centre is taking to spread the vision of our beloved late chairman, Major HPS Ahluwalia?
I would say that, like, Mom mentioned, values were very dear to him, and in all his speeches he included this quote from Guru Nanak Dev Ji, which says "Maniva Matuchi." That means, like, bow your head humbly and keep your thinking to the highest. So that's definitely the motto going forward. And like she said, at ISIC we don't just provide treatment, we provide healing. We heal the mind, body and spirit. We also strike a lifelong bond with our patients, and it's a continued work in progress with them, because it's not just them, it's also the families that are rehabilitated here. So I think taking that vision forward, and that's what sets ISIC apart, the emotional quotient. And I would say that's what's taking it forward, moving on. That's on the SCI front. On the other front, we definitely want to consolidate our services. Like I said, we want this to be a one-stop shop. So we want to increase and expand on other specialities, which will obviously feed into the spine and ortho patients that we get, like nephro, urology is already there, gastro. So that's what the plan of action is.
Sure. It's great to sort of interact with you and understand your thoughts. So what message would you like to give to the community today, to all of us?
Well, my message to everybody would be, when you see somebody in pain, please reach out and help him. And especially if you see an accident on the road, just don't stand there and start taking videos and put them all over on the media, because that's very inhuman. Try to bring the patient to the nearest hospital and give him the immediate treatment which he needs. And then if you can help them lead a normal life after they are rehabilitated, that would be a great service to the society. And whosoever can give them employment or anything, that would also be very welcome. And they should be made a part of everyday life, not exclude them from your everyday activities. Keep them with you and take them wherever you are. I remember when we used to go out 40 years ago, when he used to get out of the car, the people would stand all around us. Yeah. And it was so not embarrassing, I used to get angry. Then I would say, yahan koi drama ho raha hai, dekh rahe ho aap log, So I don't want anybody to get that feeling. But now we go out, we see a lot of people on wheelchairs and everything, so they are leading a normal life. I want everybody to lead more than a normal life, even with any disability they have. And that is the society's, that would be their responsibility towards the people who are less fortunate, and to look after them and make them part of our daily life.
Thank you so much for your message, ma'am. Sugandh ma'am, would you like to extend or dwell your thoughts on as an extension of the message?
I think she's covered everything, but yesterday we opened SCI Day, the celebrations, And the way the community around us in Vasant Kunj, the way they came together to kind of advocate for SCI and endorse the good work that we are doing in ISIC, that was so rewarding.
Yes.
There were like 100 cyclists and so many people taking the walk, even though we couldn't leave the gate, but there was this huge crowd that kind of gathered for the cause of SCI.
Yes, a lot of
and that was really refreshing and heartening to see. I think we also announced that we are opening HR's doors for inviting CVs or persons with spinal cord injuries. I would also take this opportunity to encourage other people that not to shy away from disability, but to welcome it into their, their offices and their institutes, because that's how we will reach an inclusive society. That's about it. Thank you.
That's good. Bholi ma'am, Sugandh ma'am, it was an absolute pleasure and privilege to interact with you and get into your thoughts. Thank you so much for your presence and expression of your thoughts about this wonderful center which was set up by our beloved late chairman Major HPS Ahluwalia sir. With this, I thank you all for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.